you so much for sharing this information. I'm so excited to learn from you.
Oh, well, it's always fun to put these together. So I'm wearing a little bit of bling, so it's a carryover of the new year, right? And we're going to talk about a hot topic in the new year, and that is, that bulge around the belly. And great job, Kemi. I always love hearing that and never get tired of this information. It's so fun. But the goal of this company is all about balancing our body, and that is also known as homeostasis. So, whether you are dealing with gut pain, toxin-based disease, maybe you overindulge during the holidays, maybe you're feeling a little sluggish, not living your best life, we're going to share how we can turn that around. Because really, everything in our body, it, everything stems from what we put in it, and it channels through our gut. And, if you're one of those that get on the scale and you're in a little bit of a crisis, I have to tell you, I'm 59. This is the first holiday season I went through and I lost weight. Is that weird? I ate, I had parties, and my husband is a foodie and an awesome cook. But I did the gut regeneration system and I was wearing my energy enhancers. I wear them on each wrist. And if ever you see Serena and Venus Williams playing tennis, this is what gives them their extra power. This is burning an extra 300 to 600 calories. So this is extra little tip to add on to what I'm going to share tonight. So that is my secret to success. And I've never made it through the holidays and put on my clothes and felt good about myself. So that's something to celebrate. But I was listening to Dr. Stacy the other day, and she was sharing a statistic that was a little surprising to me, that 80%, nearing 80% of America is now considered obese. I didn't know, that I knew that we had a problem, but that's a frightening one because they say 1 in 5 US deaths is actually linked to being overweight. And you can see the reasons here, pulmonary disease, stroke, cancer, heart disease. There's a lot of different reasons. So what I want to share tonight is not just focusing on, the beautiful side of being, keeping that healthy weight, but looking at the health of the gut and what we can do. And, there's so much out there and it can be overwhelming. It's confusing. And I know before this came to me, I was always trying this, that, and the other. And a girl at work would, get these capsules and we'd take them and nothing worked. And we'd try this, we'd try that, we'd try fasting and, yoga and exercise. And I never was getting where I wanted, but I finally am. So I'm going to let you in on some secrets. But the big question is, are diet and exercise the only keys to our weight loss? And I am very happy to tell you they are not, because I haven't been doing a lot of that and I'm maintaining and actually done some reductions. So that's pretty awesome, as well as a lot of my friends, including Holly. Oh my goodness, I think I should have an award. I'm going to do that. Friend that loses the most. I guess I have to do it as a percentage of body weight. But anyway, 43 pounds for Holly. Hats off, girl. But you might ask yourself, why can't I lose that weight? If that is something you struggle with, not that everyone does, but some of us do. A lot of it comes down to the weight industry tricks, weight loss industry tricks, I should say. Like the capsules of all of us girls at work, we'd try everything. They're always giving us a gimmick. They're not really interested in us getting where we want to be because guess what? They'd be out of business, right? Metabolic adaptations. Once you get something that works, guess what? It stops working because your body gets used to it. Yo-yo dieting, never recommended. There are medical conditions why maybe sometimes we can't lose that weight. The hypothyroidism. Now, that was me. For 15 years, I'd been on levothyroxine. 4.5 months into wearing a combination of patches, my thyroid regenerated. I didn't know it. My hot flashes returned. I stopped sleeping. My hair started falling out again, and I got stupid because I lost my words again. I got the brain fog back. And my doctor, who knew I was using these patches, I went to him and I said, patches are not working. Everything's back. I feel terrible again. And he laughed and he goes, oh no, stem cells know their job. He said, I think your thyroid has regenerated itself. We're going to verify that with a blood test. And then if I'm right, we're going to titrate you down, get you off of levothyroxine. And we did in 2.5 weeks, I was off of it. That was 2 years ago. I have not been on it. I feel fantastic. But there's also this downward spiral of failures. When you try and lose and you don't, that's bad. And that's a psychological toll on us. maybe it makes it feel impossible. So I am here tonight to give you good news. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to feel frustrated because I'm going to give you the secret of why is it so hard as we age to lose that bulge. There is something out there called heavy metal toxicity. And, heavy metals are literally heavy. So if your body is storing heavy metals, and you know where our body stores these things, toxins, stores it in fat. It's a protection mechanism. And Joy always says, love your fat because it's protecting your organs from getting infiltrated by it. But these heavy metals, they can be copper, tin, nickel, aluminum. Anybody eat anything out of an aluminum can? That's really not good. Inflammation, that is another thing that contributes. We're going to talk tonight about releasing both of these. But sleep deprivation, I never realized how critically important sleep is for overall wellness and health. But I love this picture of this beautiful cell on the left. This is a healthy cell that is in harmony. Everything in that body is working right, and it's gorgeous. But when we have swelling in the cell, what do we call that? You see that one on the right? It looks a little different than the other one, huh? That is fat. And it's fat, though, in the sense that it is retaining, like Joy will always tell you, fat is storing your toxins. So let's talk about sleep. So sleep is really, I found this today online, the golden chain that binds our health and body together. Huh, never knew that. But it's really important because our body is designed very smartly to purge our toxins while we sleep. That's when they go bye-bye. And if we aren't sleeping well, we're not letting them go. And the critical hours, according to the Chinese calendar timeline, is between 1 and 4 a.m. That's when we really are releasing the most toxins. So if you're an insomniac, guess what? You're holding those in rather than purging them. So I encourage you, if you have sleep issues, talk to whoever referred you and we will help you, because I used to sleep in 2-hour increments and that's why I lost my brain. I sleep like a baby now. I dream like vivid color, Academy Award winning movies in my head at night. It's awesome. It's all because of a few patches that I've used that have helped me get here. Fat loss. This was really intriguing. Dr. Stacy shared this one, that they had 2 groups and they did a fat loss study with them. And they had a calorie reduction diet. And group A slept between 7 and 8 hours a night. And 85% of the weight they lost came from fat. 15% of their weight loss was from muscle. So that would be the group to be a part of, right? Who doesn't want to lose that fat? We don't want to lose our muscle. But group B slept only 1 hour less a night. And guess how much they lost from fat? Only 15%. But they lost their muscle. So guess what happens? You get into this vicious cycle. When you lose that muscle, then your metabolism slows down. Now it's making it harder for your body to ever reduce and release that fat. And we're going to talk here more about that in a little bit. But I found this from a doctor, one of our doctors in life. I can't tell you which one, but she says that toxicity and deficiency are always the root cause of any health condition we have, be it a disease. So if you can address toxicity and deficiency, you can turn those things around. And just wanted to share this with you, that signs of a weak immune system: you're constantly feeling tired, you easily catch a cold, you get frequent infections, stress, digestive issues. That's a big one. Slow healing. So those are really bad things. And it's really, our immune system is weakened by toxins. So you really want to work on getting the toxins out of your body so they don't manifest into something we don't want. I have a lot of friends right now on the couches all over the world right now, where everyone's dealing with this kind of stuff, right? I don't know. I've been on and off a lot of airplanes lately and feeling fabulous, but my immune system is strong. I'm rarely getting sick and it feels really good. But I found this because we don't want to only talk about patches and health. We want to just give you some good ideas. But To detoxify your body in 24 hours, I found this online today. Binge on sleeping. We binge on Netflix or what have you, but give yourself the luxury of sleep. Really. This says drink a glass of water every morning. I think they mean, first thing to flush. You want to drink way more than a glass a morning, but that's a great start of your day. Take stretch breaks. So stretch breaks are really important because that gets into circulation and that's keeping those muscles moving and pliable and our ligament, connective tissue, stretching, really important. Herbal tea is awesome and avoiding alcohol, that's a really good thing to help. So Cami shared with you about that light in what these patches are activating in our bodies. And I found this today and I thought, wow, I've never seen this before. This is pretty cool. But here's the sweet spot, photobiomodulation. That's the word of what these patches are doing. So it's that infrared to that visible spectrum is what we're talking about. And what that photobiomodulation does is it is stimulating our bodies with light. And when we put light on our tissue, it improves that tissue's function by reducing inflammation, improving the energy, the metabolism. And ultimately, if you're an athlete, and we have a lot of professional athletes in this, that use this product. Tom Brady says he could have never played NFL football so long in his life if it were not for these patches. But what it comes down to is the ATP. That is the output of mitochondria. So that is the molecule that carries the energy within the cell. So when we have the light, we all feel better, don't we? When it's summer and the sun's out, don't you have more energy? Aren't you amazed? You can work out in the yard until 9 at night. Can you imagine doing that in December? Not just temperature wise, but you just don't have the energy without that light. So what I want to talk about tonight, and we often talk about this because this has been so life-changing for so many of us, the gut regeneration system. And this is recommended between a minimum of 18 days up to 90 days. So what we're doing is we're using 4 patches and we are placing them. This image shows around the belly button. Really, the first day is above the belly button, but I'll show you that in a minute. But what it's doing is it's repairing the gut imbalance, and we all have that. It is taking out the toxins. We told you the toxins live in the fat, really, they're literal bubbles. And when you get the toxins out, those fat bubbles pop, and it helps to flatten your tummy. Reducing your inflammation. And that is really important, not just for that puffiness around our middle, that is important for your cells. Every disease has a root cause, I'm learning, from inflammation. There's an irritation there, and the body is just not optimized. So you really want to get that out. Balancing our endocrine system. We're going to talk about that. And SP6 is the patch that does that. And it takes your endocrine system up about 87% in 7 days. Clinical trials have shown. And then that patch also is responsible for helping your body process sugars. So it's working with insulin, pancreas, doing really good things. And then the glutathione, that is helping with that detoxification. So biomodulation, again, is repairing the body. But in this instance, when we're using this as on the gut, we're finding balance. And what it's actually doing is changing your gut microbiome. And that is everything. So we are activating, we are stimulating, detoxifying, inflammation reduction, rejuvenating, repairing, balancing, and it just helps everything work in perfect harmony. And the more natural foods you can eat, the better your microbiome will be. The more packaged foods, the more processed foods, the more inflammation and toxins you're going to have in your gut. The problem with that is it makes that gut angry and then it can't absorb the nutrients. And this is the doctor that I initially learned this from. Her name's Dr. Velvet. And she's a metaphysician. She's been treating mental health with food and nutraceuticals for years. And then she found these patches. And she thought, before I use this on my patients, I just want to see what it does do for me. So in 18 days, check this out. Look at her on the left. Look at that belly. Look at her on the right. That's 18 days. She lost 33 inches and she felt better. And a lot of her patients are feeling better. So I found this at the most opportune time because my sweet bonus daughter was really dealing with a case of GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. This is her at our beach house. down in Olympia, September, a year ago, September. And she was not living her best life. She was dealing with insomnia and anxiety, and she kept throwing up with this GERD. And I said, Ange, I just listened to this doctor. I have all the patches here with me. You're staying the week for me to take care of you. Do you want to try this while you're here? And let's just see what happens. Well, here's what happened. That picture of her in those skinny jeans, that's 18 days later. She fit into those favorite jeans. She lost 35 pounds. Now, was that 35 pounds of fat? No. More importantly, that was 35 pounds of toxins, heavy metals, inflammation. Of course, there's some fat going out of her system too, but what we celebrated most wasn't how she looked, but she started sleeping. She got calmer and feeling more confident. By April, she'd lost 70 pounds. She's now down 100 pounds. Pretty remarkable. 4 little Band-Aids could do that. But these inflammatory issues in our gut really come and stem from foods. So dairy, wheat, sugar, GMO corn, just be aware of what you're putting in your body. And when we do have an unhappy gut, we love to use our Eon patch, which is an anti-inflammatory. It's raising a peptide in the liver. And so you can see here on the left, this is putting this on, and where we place these patches is based on Chinese acupuncture. So CV12 in acupuncture is a great spot for a very angry stomach. Well, ironically, that's where the gut regen starts. Eon is at the top. And this picture on the right is showing you on the left, that's the before, the red and the orange is the heat, the hot, the inflammation. 5 minutes after putting that Eon patch on that back, this person, you can see the reduction. That is pretty remarkable. This is the gut. That top picture is the very unhappy tummy. And that's 5 minutes later after we put that on. Life changing. So I just found this picture here and I thought that was kind of cool, showing what inflammation looks like in the cellular level. You can see our blood flow. That inflammation disrupts blood flow and it's pulling cells out and they go to the repair. Well, if you're using the X39 and it's bringing up those stem cells and it's in the bloodstream, it can go there and help repair it. So that's pretty powerful. So inflammation is not our friend. Get it under control, and we've got an awesome tool to help you with that. There is a tracker that we have, and we love to use that. We encourage you to do measurements of your arms, your gut, neck, calf, thighs, and pay attention to that because it's not just about what the scale says. Some people don't lose a lot of weight. I only lost 7 pounds the first time I did it, but I lost 14 inches overall on my body. That was cool. Eric just started this January 1st. He started the gut regen again. He told me this morning he's down 8 pounds. What's today? The 7th? That's pretty great. He is eating a little more consciously, but this is that tracker. And on day 1, we're going to start above the belly button. This is color coded, and this is on our website, harmonyhealth4, the number 4u.com, or get with one of us and we can send it to you if you don't have the ability to go to that website. But we're placing them above the gut. Day 2, we're around the belly button. Day 3, we are below the belly button because we are regenerating that gut lining, the microbiome from the esophagus, the stomach, intestine, all the way down into the colon. Very, very powerful. So real quickly, I just want to give you insight into this SP6. It is maximizing a healthy diet and exercise efforts. This, like Jan said, you can't just put this on and expect it's going to work immediately, and you cannot go off the rails on your diet either. I'll tell you, it gives you a little more latitude than you have without it, but this does help you with the metabolic response, reducing your cravings, less hunger. I am a sugaraholic. I never met a cookie I didn't like. And when I'm wearing that SP6, I don't really even think about them. They're all over my house and I walk right by and I'm okay. Now, if I don't have this on, sometimes I do go off the rails. But check this out. This is working on the hormone system, your endocrine system. That's your liver, your pancreas, your kidney have impact by that. Your thyroid, your intestines, your hypothalamus, improvement in the adrenal glands. And in clinical trials, they saw every organ, with the exception of the pituitary, achieve significant change, improvement. So that is something to celebrate. So again, just want to show you that SP6 always goes on the left side of your body. And next, the X39. Cami already explained that to you at great length. That is bringing up that GHK copper peptide and stem cells. And then we come to glutathione. This is a game changer. And I had no idea how impactful glutathione is in our body. We all have it in an abundance when we're born. It lives in our liver. Just like the peptide, that eon, the liver is so critically important for our health. When you have low glutathione, what that means is the superhighways intended to usher out the bad stuff, the toxins, get clogged. Traffic jams, exit ramps are closed when we don't have enough of that glutathione. But look at this in the brain, what's happening. There's some bad things there. But we're focusing tonight on the gut. So we're going to look at this orange box that I highlighted in yellow, the immune, the cancer box there. All of these are linked to a low glutathione. And this patch that we have elevates our own glutathione 300% in over 24 hours. Now, mind you, I don't want to confuse you. You're only wearing these patches 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So strong, it keeps working. This is so strong, we do not recommend you start with this in the beginning. We like to get you 10, 12, 14 days on X39 and Eon. X39 is going to raise your own glutathione about 30%, which is a nice gradual detox. Most people don't even know it's happening. But if you were to, get really excited, like I was in the beginning, and I had a friend who had neuropathy in her feet, I said, oh, we can do this, and we're going to fix that right away. We started her on day one, and it was just too much. It gives you, it's never going to hurt you. It's more like a headache. It's aches, it's lethargy. You might be on the toilet a little too long. Just go a little slow on that. So, phase that in maybe a couple of weeks, see how you do in 6 hours. If you're good, go to a whole 12 hours. If you're feeling a little off, take it off, save the back, use that patch another day. So, those tired cells from these toxins give you that low energy. Those toxins go in, they damage everything, creates issues. And again, they get stored in fat. But if we're using that gut regen system, we can help address that so much better. Talked about the eon, toxin buildup, insomnia, brain fog, headaches. I mean, there's all sorts of things here that are telltale signs that you have toxicity, and most of us do. The patches do work. It is raising that GHK copper peptide, which in turn then brings back those stem cells. And we always ask if somebody says, gee, I'm not noticing it yet, or maybe it didn't work for me. We always want to know, how are you assessing that? Because a lot of this in your first few months, you cannot tell as a human, unless you're some scientific walking microscope, you don't know. It's biomarkers, it's blood work, it's maybe you're phasing out some pharmaceuticals, maybe you're sleeping better, your thermography and an EEG has changed. The reality is you can't feel your cells declining with the patches. You can't feel it without. That's just the way our body is designed. Give them time, and they are going to help your body find balance, and that's homeostasis. The patches are simply a tool to let your body ward off the negative impacts of toxins, the environment, epigenetics. Those are our genes, those things we inherit from our parents. And on another session we did on genes, this is a gene whisperer. And if your family is always predisposed to cognitive decline or blood sugar issues, you might find it bypasses you when you modify the health and the age of your epigenetics. But it's all about a younger, healthier state. And the timeline is always unique because everybody's different. Everybody has a different diet. Speaking of diet, I really encourage you to treat your temple well, feed it carefully. These are all some great things. Avocados, oh my goodness, one of the best foods on earth, especially for cognitive issues. Water, we cannot stress that enough. You need to be drinking about 50% of your weight in ounces a day. We want clean and filtered water. Spring or stream is purified. And really try and avoid those cheapest cases of water when you go to Costco. That Kirkland brand, that's purified. They've taken out all the good stuff. Your body needs those minerals to pull the water into your cells. So I always encourage people, pay attention to your water intake. It's critically important to help you build the new cells. And in life, I think we always want what we can't have, right? And as we get older, we look back on those younger years more fondly. But here's a cool thing. you don't have to want it and not be able to get it. This is a product that can help you go back. And it's just such a joy and a pleasure. And I feel so fortunate to get to help people. And I hope that you found this interesting and maybe you learned a thing or two. But I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing. And we want to open it up to answer any questions that you guys might have. So if anyone has questions, I don't know if you've been able to type them into chat. You can scroll the chat, and if not, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand, and we'd love
There's
to get your questions answered.
there's a question in the chat about fast growing cells. Do we want to um,
Oh, this
include
is actually the point where I normally do end our recording. I forget before we go to Q&A. Plus, we want to
before we
try to
get
be around
ourselves
an
in
hour.
trouble?
So thank you all so much, and happy 2025, you guys. We are going to have so much fun together. And let's just watch our biomarkers get better and the scales get lighter and live our best life and bring our friends and family with us. Thanks for being here. See you next Monday and Tuesday at 6 Pacific time.